Guys, we got to talk Sixers. I don't know why, but they lost to the Bucks. It's their 6th straight loss. They are 15-26 at their halfway point. Embiid's played in 13 of the 41 games so far. He's missed the last 8. Of course, he will be reevaluated again in another week, so we're not even sure when he might be back. He's got swelling in the knee. This is a bad stretch, by the way. They are 11th in the East. Look at their schedule coming up.
Yikes.
Chandler, do some quick math here. Where are they after this stretch? Dear Lord.
Struggling.
By the way, none of those are gimmies at this point for this team, right?
And all those teams are trying to win, and they're playing for seedings. And again, this is that time of the season where it's a little stagnant, where it's all-star break, and you can either fracture, you can go completely south, or you can come together, you can rally, and you can try and move up in the standings. And it's tough when it's the same story for Philly. Injuries are a constant problem. Joel hasn't been himself, hasn't been playing. They already lost McCain. Now, how many guys can they figure out the right rotations, and then do they have enough to tread water? And I don't think they do. I credit Joel Embiid for trying to play and trying to do the right things, but I've said this since day one of the show. The dude's not right. He's not healthy. They need to shut him down because this isn't something that is just going to magically fix. And when you look at the setup of their pick, it's a top 7 pick. It goes to the, guess who? The Oklahoma City Thunder if they don't start tanking and losing some games. So I've said it all season long. I don't think they have enough with Joel in and out of the lineup to compete. I don't think they're a playoff contending team without him. And he's not going to be healthy this season. So I think it's shut it down still, and I've said that for 2 months.
I mean, that stretch, Lou, coming up, Lou, they are the worst team of all the teams we're showing. Like, they have the worst record. Chicago would be the next one up, 18-25. I almost feel like a jerk asking about the upcoming schedule because they're the bad team if you look at it. So, yeah, why not start tanking?
You can't do it. You can't do it. You sold this fan base on championship aspirations to start this season, right? We just got out of a process. We're not signing up for another process.
Another one.
Think about how long that was. That you are inside of the process. This is the result.
We need another process.
Yeah, this is the result of the process. So you can't start that clock over. And you got to think 2 out of 3 of your superstars on this team are in the 4th quarter of their careers. You don't have time to waste. You don't have years to waste with these guys. Like, you have to go out and give yourself an opportunity to compete. And again, small sample size. This season, you brought Paul George in to be that third punch, to be a championship aspirating team, to give the Boston Celtics a challenge for that crown. So you can't go halfway through it and say, well, we're going to tank and try to keep our pick. That pick is not going to impact winning immediately right now out of that draft. So if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you got to see this thing through. I'm sorry to say, you got to see it through. You got to compete at the highest level that you can with the guys that you have available, and you got to give yourself a shot because, again, you sold us on a dream. And now that it's not going your way, we can't back out of it and say, you know what, we're going to rest everybody and we're going to tank. And especially if you're these young guys, some of these guys are trying to make a name for themselves. My man that just came over from France, this is his 2nd opportunity in the NBA. He has to play at a high level to make sure he's solidified in his I don't know why they have Paul George in a dunker, by the way. I don't know why I said that, but it just annoys me to see him in a dunker when he plays, when he's available. Like, why do you have him playing a 5? You got to put this team, this team has to compete at a level where it's satisfactory to the fans because you've already sold them on tanking before in this last decade.
Just came up with an idea. I just came up with an idea.
Oh, boy.
It's probably not doable, but it's still an idea that I just had. What if you could secretly somehow poll the fans, especially season ticket holders, without anyone finding out about it and being like, are you cool if we tank? Just to see what the vibe is.
I'm telling you, as a matter of fact, the fans do not want to tank right now.
But aren't you just delaying the inevitable here? And it's not best for the team in this next season to go forward. It's like right now this season's pretty much a wash, I think. Look at their team. They're 27th in points. They're bottom in team in defense. They play slow. They are not a good basketball team this year.
They're not.
And a lot of that has to do with injuries because this team was built to be healthy and to win a championship. They're not, and they're not getting healthy either. They lose the Rookie of the Year already.
But at least TikTok came back for him.
He's dancing on TikTok. He's off crutches, so he's back. But I'm just saying, it's a tough situation, like Lou's saying, when you have all these hopes going into this season.
Yeah.
You do have a hell of a team on paper. We're at the halfway point, though, and they're an awful team.
I'm with Chandler.
They're an awful team.
Not going to happen.
Let me ask you guys this. Usually when you tank, you have young talent that you would like to evaluate.
Sure.
They have veterans on this bench.
I know,
They got vet guys coming on this bench. Like, you're not going to discover anything different on your bench that you don't know that you have. All of these guys that are coming off are certified veterans, and Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre. These are household names. So who are you evaluating? Even if you sit Paul George and Embiid, you still have guys that are going to go out there and give you an opportunity to win basketball games. Unfortunately, they're falling short, but they don't even have the personnel
they're in a bad
to tank.
spot.
Think about this, though. So you were talking about how vet this team is, right, with those guys. If they win games or in this team, look, 76ers pick goes to OKC if it's between 7 and 30. So they have to be really bad. Or you're already talking about how their team is aging, have vet guys.
Yeah.
At least go and get you a top 6 pick and salvage something out of this season. Get Joel Embiid healthy for next year. Get Paul George healthy for next year. And then you run this team back with a top 6 pick.
Because
now we're in business.
Look, I'm not a doctor, but every time you put Joel Embiid out there with all the current injuries that his body currently has,
not right.
Aren't you just making the other parts of his body work harder, overcompensate, and then those get hurt? Like, this is going to be a never-ending cycle of an injury without him getting good.
If it's going to be a never-ending cycle, we don't have time to waste. We got to try to win games right now.
I just
and
disagree.
every night that we lace up.
They can't, though, Lou. They can't. That's the product
They need
you're
a
putting out there.
miracle.
They can't win games.
I'm agreeing with you, but again, who are you going to put on the floor that's going to give you the best chance of tanking?
They are really in a bad spot.
Not Paul George, not Maxey, not McCain,
And by the way,
not Embiid.
I feel for Maxey.
Let the chips fall as they may after that.
That's where I feel the most. I'm like, I feel for Maxey, because when he is out there, he gives it his all, and for what? For what?
It's just tough, too, because they're probably thinking, dang, if we can just get healthy, we can figure it. But that's just a huge if, and I don't trust that if is going to happen this year. So why waste it? Sure, this season, throw it away. It sucks. Don't let that linger on the next season.
Poll the fans secretly.
Poll.
I think they'll be in for another process. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Lakers making their first trip to the Intuit Dome. Oh, you guys are going to love it when we return.